Hey! Welcome to the JodoCast, the Star Wars gaming thing, where we talk about Star Wars games and stuff. And today there was a Star Wars game thing. Right, Leo and or Evan? I'm Joe.
Yes.
Right.
I know how to introduce videos.
Hey. I'm hoping my video never doesn't shit the bed since I'm recording from a hotel room.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say your house looks much smaller.
Yeah. I'm out on a work trip today and tomorrow, so we're enjoying the free hotel Wi-Fi at the moment.
So the question becomes, do you have per diem, and how big of a steak did you buy with it?
Did you guys see the news today?
I'm waiting to hear about Leo's dinner. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I went to Pizza Luce, or rather, I had them deliver.
All right, moving on.
So
it's apparently a really good pizza place down here in the cities, and I'd never had it before, so I wanted to try it. I've heard lots of good things about it.
And the other day,
Hey, I wasn't done talking about my fucking pizza yet. Okay, I'm done now.
I guess we're done.
This isn't a regular episode. We're trying to capture that YouTube audience, and they're picky people. They don't want to hear about I said pizza lubre. Pizza.
That's my favorite wrestler.
We're here to talk about Lucasfilm Games, which was sort of news the other day, but not news because they're just like, hey, we have a new logo and we're going to stick it on stuff, and people were like, LucasArts is back, which it's not. Lucasfilm Games. Let's be clear. They're the people who... This is the division of Lucasfilm that has existed for a long time. If somebody's making a video game, they just, like, have people who, like, ride them and say, hey, you can't do that because that's not Star Wars-y. Or, hey, how about you do this because this fits in... You know, you could throw in this reference to... You looking for a planet? Why not use Dathomir? That fits in. They're basically... You know, they make sure the people making the Star Wars games make a good Star Wars game as best as they can say, and they're not, you know, doing things like having sex scenes or having Spock show up, things like that. That's what their job is. To, like... And I think in the...
I'd play a Star Wars game with Spock in it.
I think in the behind the scenes for Fallen Order, they were like, well, they were a huge thing because they would show them what they got, and they're like, no, you have to change this because... Star Wars says that can't be a thing or whatever.
So they're the commissars.
Yeah, they're making sure the people making the Star Wars games don't do something they don't like with the property. But so that's what Lucasfilm Games is. It's always been that. They have a new logo that they're going to start slapping on stuff, and then the big news came. The little news came yesterday when they announced there's a new Indiana Jones game coming, and this Lucasfilm Games thing will be stuck on there.
Mm-hmm.
But today they announced that the light at the end of the tunnel is coming in a world where EA no longer has exclusivity rights to make Star Wars games, and they're going to be making an open world game with Ubisoft, with massive studios, the people who've made the Division. I think Division 2 was the last thing they did. So
Yeah,
that's the news.
they did both divisions.
Okay.
And
Yes.
I think Didn't they do? I think they did one of the Far Cry's. Far Cry 3, I think. I don't know.
So,
What was the one that everyone liked?
Far Cry
3?
4?
I thought it was 3. I don't know.
I don't remember. I played some of them, but I don't remember which ones.
Which was the one with the white supremacists?
I think that was 4. I think 5 is the one with Esposito. That's not out yet? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. In any event, Ubisoft.
They're making a game. So it's really exciting that somebody who's not from EA is making a Star Wars game. It's less exciting that it's Ubisoft, but it's still...
It's kind of like one of those monkey paw sort of thing. But you're like, man, I really wish EA wasn't making Star Wars games.
Well, to be clear, EA is still making Star Wars games. They're just not the only ones.
They are.
Like, Fallen Order 2 is still going to come out. There's there could be a Battlefront 3, whatever. They're still doing stuff, but they're no longer the only kids with their sticky fingers in the toy box.
The big question,
whatever BioWare's working on is still going to come out eventually.
Oh, we'll talk about that later,
young man.
That's the only thing I want, and I keep having to wade through all this stuff that I don't give a shit about. But
you're going to be so disappointed whenever it does finally come out.
I know I am. I know. It's going to be like, you got to use Frostbite Engine 2.0. We know you don't know how, but hey, we want you to use it anyway.
Respawn got out of having to use Frostbite when they made Fallen Order, and that game was great, so maybe EA's like, maybe we should just let them use Unreal Engine.
It would have been... I mean, Unreal Engine was good enough for Mass Effect 1.
Wasn't it in 2 and 3?
Well, in 2 and 3, but then with Andromeda, it was like, you gotta use Frostbite!
I mean, I liked Andromeda. I didn't notice any, besides a lot of the bugs. Anyways, what I want to know is, because all we know for now is that there's going to be a lot of other people making Star Wars games. Mm-hmm. Specifically, Massive Studios is making an open world game. I want to talk about, what do we think an open world game in Star Wars could be or should be, and then if we don't have... If we still have time, we can talk about what other things we'd like to see now that EA doesn't have exclusive rights.
Right.
But let's start with what open world?
Well, to start with, let's just say they have already come out and they've said it's not going to be like The Division. It's they said what they're planning is something that's supposed to be totally different from any of the games. Totally different from any of the games the studios made beforehand.
Okay.
I just had a really massive sneeze and felt I should mute for that.
Good call. Like, hey, Leo knows where the mute button is.
Hey, you would pick up so many more coughs and mutes than you already and sneezes than you already do if I didn't mute. So be thankful for the sporadic muting that I do.
Every day.
Okay.
I'm thankful for Leo.
I think the biggest...
Thanksgiving rolls around, it's like, thank you for Leo.
I think the biggest question, or that I think that we probably all have, everyone's probably thinking it, does open world mean one real big city, think like, or like one big map that's seamless, like every open world game you can think of, or since it's Star Wars, are you going to be able to go from planet to planet? And which, at that point, is it an open world game? I guess it is. You'd have to have a bunch of huge maps though, otherwise it wouldn't feel really open world. I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. Are they gonna say you can't leave this planet, or are you gonna be able to go to other planets where each world will presumably feel smaller, because now instead of making one big single location, you have to make a number of slightly smaller ones. I don't know. And do you have a preference? I know you don't like open world games, Leo.
Unless they're Spider-Man.
Or
Breath of the Wild. Yeah. As long as they're good open world games is what I'm saying.
Well, and I think that the other question that I would be asking is follow a question after a statement. The umbrella statement of open world games covers a lot of territory, especially if we're talking about the company that did The Division, which you could describe as an online RPG because you're occupying the same space as other players, right, but it's not necessarily a subscription-based, like, multi-server just for, one huge expansive world. So that's more the question that pops to my mind, and I'm sure you would have gotten there eventually, and I don't mean to step all over your original question.
No, that's
But
interesting because open world to me, I just picture, like Red Dead Redemption or Spider-Man or whatever. But The Division
or
is a multiplayer game, and not only, you could do PvP if you want, but you can squad up with people, which is really cool. And I want more single player story games like Fallen Order, but if we can all hang out together and run around and do a Star War together, that's always exciting.
and if it's not a massive multiplayer online RPG where every like hundreds and thousands of people, I mean it won't be. But
No.
just to give context of having a whole bunch of, hundreds of thousands of people on one server at the same time versus me and select friends occupying an instance and going on missions together against the CPU. Like, I love that kind of game.
Right, and that's
I
what
love
happens
my buddies against the computer.
That's kind of how The Division and I guess Red Dead and GTA Online are, is everyone's kind of sharing the same world. In GTA you can go kill other players, but for the most part you just do what you want and do the missions that, because they come out with new story missions for that. That could be cool. What I've already got in my head, my dream open world Star Wars game. I don't know about you guys. And I'm sure this will not be even close to what the final product is because we know nothing about it. And maybe this is too niche. I was thinking like, okay, well, if you have to be on one location, let's say there's only going to be one map in the whole game, it's huge, then it would probably have to be like a city, maybe a section of Coruscant or Mos Eisley or Jeddah or whatever. And I think it would be really fun to play as like part of a rebel cell station, like based in a city. And you have to do stealth things to avoid patrols or sabotage stormtroopers, or do other things like help people who are like, my cat got lost. And I don't know, I think it just sounds really fun to be like part of a rebel cell stuck in a city. Maybe there's an Imperial blockade and that's why you can't go to other planets. There's a number of ways they could say this is why you don't get to go to other planets. Like maybe you're just a poor person who can't afford a ship. I don't think we'll see something like No Man's Sky where you could like fly from one planet to another in real time.
No, I don't. I doubt it. Yeah, I think at best, if we're going to be a multi-planets, I wouldn't mind seeing something like a game set in like the Carillion system. I mean, you've got what 5 planets in there already that you can explore,
That are all relatively different.
And we've already got an in-canon look at Corellia but I don't believe we've had canon Salonia, Drawl, Talus, or Tralus. I'm not even entirely sure if all 5 planets are in canon anymore.
I
was about to ask.
I've even heard of. I mean, I've heard of them, but I don't think they're canon at the moment.
Yeah, I think they were in like the Carillion system source book that Fantasy Flight put out.
So they're like,
but like
almost there, but not officially.
Yeah, they're like, because I think that book also came out like right at like the time when Disney purchased. So it was like, I think it came out like just shortly after Disney purchased, and they were like, yep, all the old shit is now Legends.
Yeah.
And then like that book came out like right after that.
I hope that you cannot play as a Jedi unless it's set in the High Republic, which I find unlikely at this point. because we know
that's a lot of conversation to be had.
Fallen Order 2's coming out. There's enough Jedi games. I think a lot of people still wish 1313 hadn't been canceled. We're not really in that crowd. I think I don't know. I'm not like, oh, thank God it was canceled like Leo. I'm not like, oh, I'd do anything to get it back like a lot of people. But that's another, like, a game as a bounty hunter that just sounds like a lot of fun. I want to have like a gunslinging experience, not another Jedi one.
Yeah, honestly, like shit, even like a Mandalorian open world game.
Sure.
There you go.
Set on Mandalore, but you don't get to go inside any of the domes, so it's just.
Well, no, I meant more like the Mandalorian, like like pre-Grogu days when you're just bounty hunting on Navarro.
That would be good for gameplay too, because now you don't have as much Beskar, so you're not like invincible.
Yeah,
I mean, this seems like
your strategy can't just run straight at the enemy and let them shoot you.
You have to actually think about what you're doing. This would be where I would insert my decades-long desire for a young Boba Fett working his way up the chain game. But I've mentioned it so many times, and I know
feel
what
like
the
you've
reaction
never
will
mentioned
be.
it, and you mentioned it on Discord earlier, and I thought it sounded great.
I mean, isn't that basically what 1313 was kind of gonna be?
I think so.
I don't know.
And that's yeah,
more or less. I don't know. I think it was open world or not, but it was about a young Boba Fett like figuring himself out.
I mean, that seems like a no-brainer to me, because we joke about how when they were developing Force Unleashed and they were like, you gotta have Chewbacca or you gotta have a Jedi. Can I have a lightsaber in this game? I mean, if you said, yeah, it's Boba Fett and he builds himself up, taking jobs from, low-level people because he's just kind of a nobody, and then he builds up his rep.
A somebody by the time of the Clone Wars, but he does get thrown in prison. And the last we see of him in Clone Wars, he's in prison. So you can just start there. He gets out, and he's got nothing again. And he's got to, like...
What if the old pro that, sort of shows you the ropes in the first half of the game, and then you have to fight him at the end? Because
they could just adapt the unfinished episodes of the Clone Wars to do the Cad Bane episodes. Except you get to play it.
Yes! Poor Leo.
I would like that a lot. You could...
What do?
These sound like the worst ideas ever.
You could have Bosk show up.
What?
But what if there were no lightsabers in it? When was the last time we had a video game without a lightsaber in it?
No lightsabers.
Was Republic Commando the last one?
Hey, you know what? Our patron chat just gave us the Cassian Andor simulator. That's a million times.
That's what I asked. That's what I said earlier.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's a million times better than anything you guys are shitting out right now.
Don't blame Joe on this one.
I think an open world game should be putting you in the shoes of one of the Star Wars tropes. So a rebel spy, a bounty hunter, which we've talked about. We decided we don't like the idea of a Jedi. How about like a smuggler? Maybe you've got to do all these run jobs around town. I think it's hard to picture an open world Star Wars game, to be honest.
It is.
Because once you leave the planet, it doesn't feel open world anymore. I don't consider the Old Republic to be open world, even though
but what about
had big maps.
I mean, for myself, when I'm trying to brainstorm what an open world Star Wars game looks like for my taste, it's like halfway between Assassin's Creed 2 and KOTOR.
See, and that's what I was thinking. I was thinking a lot of Assassin's Creed with the rebels sneaking around. You're gonna put up your little hood and you're gonna stand at the fruit stall and pretend to buy some space fruit, and then you go
space waffles. Get some space waffles.
Shoot a.
And if you're playing Cassian Andor, you have a kill ally button. Just anytime you need to get away, but I'm gonna run away now.
Right, and I was reading the article today about war crimes in Star Wars, and there's that whole discussion about Saw Gerrera versus the other rebels. You could play as someone who kind of rides that line, because there's your morality system. You're still the good guy, but do the means justify the ends? You decide, player. Hire me, Ubisoft.
No, one thing
you're not French enough.
I would like
Massive is in Sweden
to see a female lead character in the game.
Whoa there, virtue signaling, social justice. Oh God.
Yeah.
Let me guess, she's gonna have a side shave and everything.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, that would be great.
No, but in all seriousness, I guess other than Iden Versio, has there been a female lead in any other Star Wars game ever?
Would you count Arden Lin in Masters of Terras Kasai? Is she a lead character? Is she like a villain?
No.
I don't.
No,
probably not.
I'm not counting any games where you make the character. So
damn it. So even the canonical Jedi Exile?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but you can play the game as a male though. So
the closest other thing I can think is in some levels of Lego Star Wars games, it gives first player a girl character.
Yeah, I would actually like it to be a female Wookiee with a side shave. Whole body,
the whole body side shave.
Yes.
I think it'll be.
Oh, but
if
patron chat, Meat Castle has a very good insight that I didn't think of because I haven't played any of the modern Assassin's Creeds, but they give you the choice of two versions of a lead.
Yeah, in Odyssey and Valhalla, I believe you do that.
Yeah.
I think that's harder for Star Wars just because you, like us as Star Wars fans, are like, but which one is canon? Which doesn't matter, but it sort of matters, but it shouldn't.
Until the third game comes out, and it's like, okay, but we need to craft this story so that it fits.
It's better for Star Wars if there is only one like canon option, because then you can get comics and books and continue fleshing out this character outside of the games. I agree, Leo. I think it's going to be a bummer if it's another male lead, if there is like a lead character. Who knows? Maybe it's just all going to be player-created characters, and I expect there'll be some sort of plot. Otherwise, it would be a weird Star Wars game. I guess Battlefront 2015 didn't have a plot. If
it's not a semi-important character, if it's gonna be just like The Division, where I'm checking Patreon chat. I don't think they'll do a character creator. You don't think they'll do a character creator?
Modern Star Wars have had a character creator.
I was gonna say if they do like I said, an online RPG. So that's to say a not massive multiplayer one. Just I make a guy or woman, whatever. I make a character, and I kit them out however I want. I get gear as I play, so nothing matches, obviously. But then I team up with either my friends from my friend list or randos, and there's a meta story, but maybe I'm just one of many people in this meta story. Does that appeal to you to be playing in a Star Wars game where...
Are you describing Destiny?
No, I'm actually thinking of Division.
Oh, Okay.
Because in Destiny, you are the Guardian,
Oh,
the
okay.
one. I mean, there are many, but
Right.
you're
But when you do the
one
story,
that's
you're
doing
like,
everything.
yeah.
Right.
I think for a Star Wars story, unless it's about the rebellion, I think that sort of thing would work well for that, because that's kind of the whole shtick of the rebellion. It's like, well, we're working for a greater cause. If you're not Luke Skywalker, Leia, or Han Solo, you're just a nobody who's doing it because you're a good person. And that sounds kind of cool if they spun it like that. Otherwise, I want a Star Wars story. A Star Wars story needs a main character, you know. I'd like there to be like a main character that, like Fallen Order, then you can do motion capture, you know, give it you can do a lot more if you have like a fixed face on your main character as far as the performance and stuff goes, if they do that sort of thing. I think for Star Wars I'd prefer to have a lead character. I want it to be not only a woman. Her name should be Kathleen or something.
KATH''Lyn.
Her name is Kat, and her last name is just Lean.
Oh.
And she's from like the Canadian system.
But yeah,
I want something that hashtag gamers will just hate.
Oh yeah, of course. But yeah, patron chat, me Castle again saying Disney does want new characters to do stuff with, and you know what? I think that's perfectly fine. I think that even in the old canon, we had a lot of extra characters. Like we call out Kyle Katarn all the time as a great character. Although, I mean, looking back, some of those characters maybe are not great, but there were a lot of characters to do things with, and I think
for every Kyle Katarn, you end up with a Dash Rendar or a Star Killer.
What if this game is the
true
revival of Dash Rendar? But again, I'm thinking it keeps you to one planet. The Outrider is gone. He's just destitute. And it's sort of like
he's actually on Naboo. He's like a circus performer with Jar Jar.
But Jar Jar like openly pities and mocks him. And it's mostly just like it's a motion. It's going to be out on Xbox consoles for Kinect, and it's going to be a motion thing where you just have to like juggle.
Oh wow! How was that not a mini game?
I would like the game actually, to be an open world Star Wars dating simulator. You just run around the city.
Be so lucky
and find people to go out on dates with.
You'd have an app on your data pad that says, "Oh, you've got a match, and it's over here." And then that's where the open world comes in. You go over and you go to meet them, and then you go to like the noodle bar and you have a date. And you
get some buckwheat noodles.
Yeah,
delicious.
I mean, if it's going to be a dating sim, it should just be like Force Daddy or something like that.
Well, and you can, you get a car. The type of speeder you have to drive around Coruscant affects how, different characters find you attractive or not. You have to put your species preferences in your thing, no Wookiees or whatever. Or just lots of blind dates where it's like a hut shows up and you gotta strike up conversations. I like this idea. I see. This is the other thing I wanted to talk about. Is now that anybody in theory, anybody in theory could make a Star Wars game now. I want games that are like experimental, maybe not Coruscant dating simulator experimental. I would be excited about that. But, just like more like indie type games like Stardew Valley type, why not just have a Star Wars farming simulator or weird things like that? Like, you know what I mean?
Remember when we used to get things like Yoda stories?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
want a game where I can be that guy like in Solo. who was like, "What's your name?" And he's all like, "Han." Yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
Papers, Please, but in Star Wars.
Yeah, like Papers, Please, but Star Wars, and you're just like,
just an imperial guy shuffling data pads around, and you see these are the possibilities that are getting me really excited, and I feel like we're not going to see things like that. It would be cool, especially if they're like, oh, let's really harken back to the days and do things, like Monkey Island and stuff, like puzzle games like that. What if they did a modern point and click in the Star Wars thing? That was kind of funny. Like, we're gonna get lots of big budget AAA adventure games where you're shooting guys and chopping guys and getting great acting and stuff, and that's good and very exciting. That will probably hopefully be getting more of those more regularly than we had under EA's regime. But,
yeah, I mean, well, let's see. So far, out of all the Star Wars games that have been released since EA's taken over, the best game of them all has been the one AAA giant budget release. I mean, not to say that I'm sure Squadrons had a pretty decent budget, but I mean, I
you
doubt
think
it.
Squadrons is better than Fallen Order?
Yeah, I'm just really fucking bad at it, so I don't play it much. But yeah, I think it was better than Fallen Order.
Wow. Okay.
I think Fallen Order is something where if they iron out all the kinks here whenever the second one comes out, Fallen Order 2 could be fucking spectacular. But there's just a lot of bugs and weird shit in that game holding it back. I mean, I still enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, at the time, it was the best Star Wars game in like 15 years.
I still think it's one of the best Star Wars games of all time.
I honestly couldn't tell you any bugs that I encountered.
You did play it. Maybe Leo hasn't played it since launch.
That's entirely possible, because I certainly did play it late.
I mean, maybe they've patched out some stuff, but I mean, just things like fucking swinging and climbing were just, some days they were just completely broken.
Oh, I mean, you heard me complaining about it when I played it for a couple hours when it came out, but my main complaint was the controls that I had to get used to. Once I was fine with the controls, 2 months ago, a year after release, I was just, trying to get my best combos down because I was full in. I was all in on the game. But since nobody's talking, now is the time for all of us to throw out our indie game Star Wars version.
Not
classic indie games. Like,
I was gonna say, not indie games, but let's just give the next Fallen Order game to From Software and let them make a really good one.
Oh gosh, I'm not gonna play that. Yeah. I'll push some buttons, but I'm not gonna promise anything. I've still got Bloodborne that's like, you want to try me, bitch? And I'm like, no.
Oh man,
I own it, but you know what? I haven't gotten past.
It would. I think it'd be really interesting to go back now that I've beat Bloodborne, and I'm actually going through it on New Game Plus, working on earning plat right now, in the game. It'd be interesting to go back to Fallen Order and just see how much, because like I said, even at the time when I played Fallen Order the first time, I had a pretty limited experience with it. Like I had rented the game I borrowed it from somebody for a while, but I didn't get super far in the game, and then I had to give it back. So that was like my main experience with Bloodborne when Fallen Order came out. But even then, I was like, I mean, the combat system feels a little bit clunky and not quite as responsive in comparison to something like Bloodborne. Mm-hmm. But now that I've played Bloodborne a lot, I'd be really curious to see how I feel going back, and if I'd just be like, wow, this is fucking bad.
See if you can play it on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I thought it.
Play it on the hardest difficulty now.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think I played it like at the medium difficulty, whatever that was.
I was playing it. I played it, and then after beating Fallen Order, immediately, finally finished up Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and I thought that the combat in Fallen Order was a lot more freeform, I guess, than Assassin's Creed, and a lot also more freeform than any of the Arkham series, which is, I guess, that's the only other game of that type that I've played any amount of. Would be the Arkhams and the Assassins, but I don't know. I'm certainly not a From Software expert by any means. But I think I missed my window to talk about Super Portion Boy and Cooking Jabba. And
Give me a like Overcooked, but in Star Wars. I'd love that. But like you're working for Jabba, so if you get the orders wrong, you get thrown in the Rancor pit or something.
There you go. I would love that.
Or
it'd be like the three of us. Like, okay, I'll cook the meat. You get the Ronto wraps going.
Or give us a game that has plastic peripherals like Guitar Hero, but it's like a clue horn and a jizz box, and it's the Cantina Band.
Yeah. So I got an ad on Facebook today for like a Yamaha digital saxophone. Seriously, looked just like something the Cantina Band was playing.
I remember I used to, for like a week in
Wow.
college, I was like obsessed with this instrument I think it's called the Eigenharp. And it's like a Star Wars instrument. There's like a big touch pad. It's like a big oboe, but there's like a big touch pad up and down it. I was like, this is the best instrument humanity has ever created. And I only just remembered it just now. I think that's what it was called. Yeah, I hopefully this means we get a lot more diverse ideas coming into these Star Wars games, and I just hope they don't forget that people like playing smaller games that aren't, mind-blowing as far as their graphics and stuff go. Like, every week a new, like, little, small-scale game comes out that people are like, this is great.
I wouldn't even mind just seeing some dumb mobile games that were okay, like that Tiny Death Star game, like just kind of silly and fun. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either.
You know,
it was better than some of the other mobile games, like that. What was it, Uprising or something like that?
Yeah, Uprising.
I never got past character creation.
That was the RPG. There's still stuff that were first introduced in that game that are like showing up in canon. So if you're like one of the few people who played the hell out of that game, you've got like an edge up on the rest of us when you go, oh, I remember that. They just referenced Uprising.
Oh my gosh. As dumb as it was at the time, I gotta admit the lightsaber app, especially the Lightsaber Unleashed app on like first generation iPhones,
like 2007 or 2008.
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah, that was like the only thing when smartphones first came out. I was like, my phone's a lightsaber now, and that's when the world was okay for a while.
Yeah, it was. But if your friend had it, then you could put your Bluetooth on, and you would know when your phone's
like in the same
stream.
genre of like, my phone is a beer glass and I tip it and it drains out.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that game. Ubisoft's game is going to be Lightsaber Unleashed 2 Galaxy of War. This is a great idea. It'll be an augmented reality game where you just walk down the street like slashing people with your lightsaber phone.
But it's like every person you see is a youngling, and if you hit them,
Oh no!
you're like your Vader meter goes up.
Master Skywalker. What the God?
I do want to. We're a bit overdue for a new like Star Wars RTS or strategy game of some sort.
Oh, yes.
After
Please.
playing Gears Tactics last year, I'm like, what if we had a Star Wars game like that, like an XCOM Star Wars?
Ooh, I'd play that.
That would be good. A tactical RPG of Star Wars? Yes.
Fighting game. We need a new fighting game. Terrace Kasai 2.
I said I mentioned this in our Discord chat earlier today, but I would love to see like a Koei Tecmo make like a Jedi Warriors game,
Yes.
like along the lines of their Dynasty Warriors franchise. I mean it wouldn't be their first time branching out to other franchises. They have Gundam Warriors, they've got Hyrule Warriors, Jedi Warriors. You just a Jedi and you just fucking run around just mowing through hundreds of droids.
That seems like printing money in some markets.
Here's an experiment. What existing game, just any video game, non-Star Wars game, would not be more fun to at least me if it were converted into a Star Wars game? I'm having a hard time thinking of any. Like, I was just thinking of, Yakuza, but on Coruscant. That would be fun. Any game, turn it into Star Wars, is it not better?
I don't know if like are we talking like crazy over the top?
What about that? What about that?
RPG
What about
Yakuza?
that? Have sex with Stalin game. I mean,
But
if you change
replace it to Palpatine.
yeah, that doesn't make it better at all.
It doesn't make it worse.
Doesn't it?
It's about Rey's parents and how they came about.
Finally, I can enact order sexy sex.
Honestly,
I'm done.
maybe one of my favorite games.
Rio wins.
I think that is a good place to stop. If tell us what Star Wars game you are going to make now that anybody and everybody can make a Star Wars game. Now that EA as a company has been dissolved and cast into hell, everybody can make a Star Wars game. Which one are you going to make? That's what I want to know.
Oh, wait, I totally forgot. When are we getting Star Wars in Kingdom Hearts?
Oh. I've never had any.
But Star Wars is Disney and Disney Kingdom Hearts.
The existence of
Square
Tron
Enix
has been the only thing that made me slightly give a think about Kingdom Hearts.
All right. Fair enough.
I want Disney Infinity to come back, but without the toy figures, so that it's more sustainable.
What else is there?
The game was actually really fun.
Was it?
Yeah, it was really good.
Okay,
it was fun.
All right, I'll believe you because it seemed like the thing was I'm gonna buy the figures and there's a game.
No, it was like this game is actually really fun, but I wish I could play as Boba Fett now. I was playing with Bethany, and she'd have Rapunzel running around hitting people with a frying pan. I was Boba Fett just gunning them down. It was pretty cool. It was like something I never really got into. Was it had a big community where you could kind of Minecraft style build your own maps with your own little mini games on the maps that you could share and explore. But there was also just campaigns. You know, there's 3 different Star Wars campaigns that you could play through. I don't know. It was actually a good game and underrated, and too bad it was an unsustainable Toys to Life thing. Anyways, that's it. They're making an open world Star Wars game.
Hooray!
Can't. Oh, have we lost all excitement now?
I don't know. I mean,
the mood has changed.
Evan's dead inside.
You brought it back from like high view, like what do we want, to Ubisoft is making an open world game, and now I'm just back to, damn it, BioWare, what are you doing? Where are you?
I like to imagine that anytime Evan consumes any content, he's like, why isn't this a BioWare made Star Wars game? He's just reading the newspaper. It's like, this isn't a BioWare made Star Wars game. God, this sucks.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Was it in your wedding vows? You're like, this is the second best thing than a Star Wars made game from BioWare.
I mean, we might use the soundtrack to KOTOR. It's entirely possible.
Ooh, is it going to be revealed that you were Darth Revan the whole time?
I'll take off my mask in the middle of
the like,
ceremony.
It's him. I know him. Anyways, I think this is over. Thanks for watching. Hope you're not a Nazi.
Yeah, arrest all the Nazis. That's our TED Talk.
Bye.